I just have a length of 550 paracord here. And I'm gonna go slow on this. So we'll start with a bowline. Take your cord, do a loop. Okay, just a regular loop. Okay. Now, I'm gonna call this right here the rabbit. Okay, the rabbit goes through the hole, around the tree. Okay, so we can do that so far. It's through the hole and around the tree. Comes back around the tree and goes back through the hole. Okay, that's a bowline. What this is, it's a loop, it's a fixed loop that's not going to get any smaller or bigger. Okay, to do that again, start with a loop, take your rabbit, the rabbit goes through the hole, around the tree, and through the center hole. Okay? So that's a bowline. Then, or now, we're going to do the Canadian jam knot, which was named after my mentor, my mentor Morris Kohansky. Start with a piece of rope and do an overhand knot. Pull it taut. Okay. Step back a little bit and just tie like you're going to do a square knot, but leave it open. Okay. This, the end that's going underneath here, wraps around, comes back up, and when you pull it tight, it jams on itself, and no matter how much force, you can't open it. Naive, we don't do that shit here. I can, we don't. Take that shit on somewhere else. He wants me to tie a noose. Okay? The only way you can untie this is to pull the tail. Okay? Like that. You can't move it this way. Go somewhere else. Okay? So that's the Canadian jam knot. And if you want to lock it to where it can never be untied, when you get here, back up a little bit, like that, and then pull it tight again, and it'll lock itself. Okay, so that's the bowline. That's the Canadian jam knot. It even, with the paracord, it kind of heats it up, so it starts to melt itself on it. So, now, on this, a marlin spot. So I'm gonna marlin spot comes in handy for toggles. All a marlin spot is a loop in the paracord, and then you push through, right? You just take the rest of it, push it through a little bit, put your toggle in, and that right there is a marlin spot or marlin hitch. Comes in real handy because once it's in, you can hang stuff off of it and it is not going anywhere. So you're basically trapping, the back, like a better way of putting it, right there. Okay. And if you tighten this down, you have a slip knot if you just tighten that down. Okay. An alpine knot. An alpine knot takes unclimbable ropes and makes them climbable. And it's going to look complicated, but it's really not. So on this demonstration, so once, twice, 3 times. Okay, let it go. Take the one in the middle, pour forward. So we're only using this one. You can see we brought it forward from the middle. Take it to the back. And right here's where most people have issues. Once you get to the back, you have to come underneath these. Like I just did, right? Then you pull this fast. Once you tighten it, well, sorry about that, see? I got sidetracked with the news comment. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. The middle one, forward, same one, back, underneath. Don't get it confused. There we go. Now, this is going to say the way it is. Pull it tight and it'll flip open like that. What this is used for is if you have, say, 100 feet of paracord and you want to climb, you put in your different loops, bigger, obviously, and then it gives you something to hold on to and pull because these are not slipping. But in a more practical sense, if you're in a camp somewhere, you can have, say, 25 feet of this with these loops every 5 feet, and you can just hang stuff off of them. That's what I use it for. So next thing we're going to do is a clove hitch. As soon as I untie it right here. Okay, a clove hitch, basically if you just have a piece of paracord, bring it in on itself. Or not a clove hitch, I know what I'm trying to think, but, and then that right there, it's not a clove hitch, but it's similar. I'm trying to think of the name of it. The name of it escapes me, but you've seen that before. Now, a clove hitch is basically you start off the same way, and then this one would go underneath this one. And when you stick through, it pulls and creates tension on both sides. So you do a loop, one on top of the other, pull it down, put even pressure on both sides, and that's a clove hitch. Okay. If you want to tie a snare, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a snare the way I tie snares, which is everybody ties snares different. I'm going to do a slip knot for the first part, right? And the way I did that was I just went to make a marlin spike, loop, down, pull through and tighten. I'm going to tighten this, I'm going to twist it. Let me make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to put my finger in so you can tell. I'm going to twist it and put it back over top. Then I'm going to tighten everything back down. Okay. I'm going to feed this end through the hole. Now I'm going to tighten, well, sorry about that. It's not trapping season yet, so I haven't done it 100 times. Okay, through the hole. I'm going to tighten it down. Okay, So what's going to happen is, with this snare, on a wire, I would trim this to about right here, but I'm just showing you how to tie it. You come in, and it's going to come down. A better solution to that, that's a traditional way of tying a snare. A better solution, I believe, and this is, if I truly, like if I had to catch something now and I'm using a snare and I don't have wire, what I would use then, and maybe I'm biased, whatever, is I'm going to use the Canadian jam knot. So I'm going to start off with an overhand knot, back it up a little bit, but I'm going to leave it open. Like I'm going to take this, and this is going to be the formation of my loop. Let me see here. And the reason for that is once this tightens down, so here we go. So once this right here tightens down, I'm gonna have it set up to about right. I want it 3 times bigger than the cord for my snare. Okay. Once this tightens down, like when you start jerking on it, it's gonna tighten down on itself. Then the more they tighten down, they can't get out of it until I come on and I get them out. You know, I dispatch them, or if it's a non-target animal, I'll let them go, which is fun, trust me, because then you're dealing off with a pissed off skunk. Possums ain't that bad. They just lay there and you can do whatever you want to with them. But I'm going to show you how powerful a Canadian jam knot will get. It's how much pounds of pressure you can put on one. So I'm going to come in, tie my knot. Okay, I'm going to put it around this right here. And of course, I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to work it down there. Okay. This is how much pressure you can put on a Canadian jam knot, and it will not ever, ever come undone unless you pull on that tab. Now, if I want it undone, well, that I just pulled off, but you just pull that tail. Okay. So anybody watching now, I apologize for Nahib, however it is you say his name, wanted me to tie a noose. I haven't deleted the comment yet, but I'm going to, and I'm going to block him for that. I ain't racist or nothing. I don't teach that. That's not part of who I am. And that comment will be deleted, and he will be banned from my page. The only people I don't like are jihadists. But, you know, getting on. So a lot of people know this knot. You just do an overhand knot, pull it through. You have a loop. But the bowline is better because it can't be become smaller. Plus, on a bowline, like I said, my preferred method for trapping is Canadian jam knot. Now, put in the comments anyone that has just now came that doesn't know how to tie a Canadian jam knot, and I'll show you how to do that right fast. Okay, so everybody knows how to tie a Canadian jam knot. Now, one thing you can do on a bowline is, I'm going to do a bowline. Okay, so here's my bowline. I'm going to twist that bowline around and bring it down. So I have the 2 loops. I'm going to put my 2 loops, or I'm going to put my snare through those 2 loops, just like that. Okay. Now, so there's what I have. And you notice it works too. But they can work out of it. The twist makes it harder for them to work out of it, but given time, they can. That's why I personally prefer a Canadian jam knot. Okay? So, again, a Canadian jam knot, because it is, overhand knot. We all know how to do that. Step back a bit. Tie a square knot, but leave it open. I'd leave it about that far open. Okay. Take your tail, go through back, make your snare. Okay. Now, I'd have a powered snare on this right here, because I'm not going to rely on the animal to close this loop for me. I want to close it for them. So this would be attached to a powered snare. Once it's triggered, so even if I let go, I can't move that. And the more they struggle, the tighter it's going to get. But all I have to do is come up, move that tail, and I got it. Then I can set it again and just keep reusing the same knot. That is so useful. Plus, you can tie bed rolls with it. I tie my bed rolls. I tie stuff to me with the Canadian jam knot because I know it's not going to come loose until I make it come loose. So that's what I do with it. Again, to go over, we learned how to tie a bowline, Canadian jam knot. We learned how to tie an alpine hitch or alpine knot, and a marlin spike, a slip knot, and a lark's head knot. Those are your basic knots. Will get you through things. Trucker's hitches, we'll cover that eventually. But this is just something, I've seen people not knowing how to tie basic knots. So I wanted to do something to show people how to tie basic knots. Again, I used to alpine knot for basically just a store all in camp, because I can hang stuff to it and they're quick and easy to make. I also use a Canadian jam knot on a Paiute deadfall on the toggle system, and it works out amazingly well for me. But to go over the cord, this is 550 cord, 550 pound maximum load, 200 pound working load, 15 feet per 100 feet is how much it stretches with elasticity. True paracord will have 7 inner strings. One of the strings will be a different color. And what you can do with that is you can go online and pull up the color, or put in the number of strings on the inside of your paracord and put in the color and find out what date it was made. That's what that's there for. They can have 7, 9, 12, 13. That's the mantle. The outside of the paracord is a kern. Each one of the strings on the inside of the paracord will hold 35 pounds, is the equivalent to dental floss. The outer kern, or mantle, will hold 35 pounds also. This is not my preferred cord for trapping. My preferred cord is bank line. I'm gonna put, cause when you tie a noose with this, or not a noose, I'm sorry, I was reading that. When you tie just a simple noose with this right here, okay, you ready? Well, that turns to shit real quick unless it's braced. Paracord, since it's tarred, doesn't do that. Plus, it's weather resistant, water resistant, rot resistant. And when you're making, let's say you're making a bow drill with this, bow drill fire, it sucks, it slips. Bank line with that tar on it grips it. It grips the wood, grips it a whole lot better. You can be off on your tension and still make a fire with bank line. Now, before we get off here, I'm going to show you how to tie a figure of 8 knot. That's all the rage right now, and I'm going to show you what it is. Start off, and you make a loop. Take this loop, turn it 360 degrees, bring this up through the bottom, and that's it. You have your figure of 8 knot. And it's got its name because it looks like the figure of 8. It's a stop knot. A lot of climbers use that, and they'll double it over, make a loop on the end, but that's what that is. So I hope you learned something. I hope you practice these knots and get better with them. And once I get off here, I'm gonna ban old Najib and delete his comment. But you have a good day now. Remember, be kind to each other, and I love you.